1 in 4 adults today is living with the effects of childhood trauma. That's roughly 61 million people in this country alone, carrying wounds from a time when they were too young to understand what was happening, let alone defend themselves.
Timeless, timeless, timeless.
Welcome. I'm really glad you're here, and I need you to know something right away. If you're watching this, you're already braver than you think. Confronting childhood trauma takes a kind of courage most people will never understand. You didn't choose what happened to you back then. You were a child. It was not your fault, not then, not now, not ever. Today, we're going to talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough. How the things that happened when you were young are still showing up in your life today. And more importantly, what you can actually do about it. We're going to explore why childhood trauma is different from other kinds of pain, how it wires itself into your very foundation, and how you can begin the process of rewiring, of finding clarity and purpose beyond the limits of your past. If what we talk about today resonates with you or offers you some hope, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe. There are others out there searching for answers in the middle of the night, and your subscription helps us reach them with these conversations. Let me be straight with you about where I'm coming from. I'm not someone who read about this in a book and decided to make a video. I'm someone who lived it, who spent years wondering why I couldn't just get over it, like everyone kept suggesting. Why certain situations would trigger reactions in me that seemed completely out of proportion. Why I felt like I was constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop, even when life was going well. Childhood trauma is different. When trauma happens to an adult, you have a developed brain, a formed sense of self, some coping mechanisms already in place. But when it happens to a child, when your brain is still forming, when you're still learning what the world is and who you are in it, the trauma doesn't just hurt you, it shapes you. It becomes part of the architecture. I remember a moment that changed everything for me. I was in my 30s, sitting in a meeting at work, and my boss gave me some constructive feedback. Nothing harsh, just normal workplace stuff. But I felt my chest tighten. My hands started shaking. I couldn't breathe properly. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, and had what I later learned was a panic attack. That was my crossroads moment, not the panic attack itself, but what came after. I finally asked myself the question I'd been avoiding for decades. Why am I still living like I'm that scared kid, even though I'm not anymore? I want to pause here for a moment because I know some of you might be thinking of someone else right now. Maybe it's your sibling, your friend, your partner, someone who's still trapped in patterns from their childhood. And they don't even realize it. If you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who's been carrying pain they can't name, would you share this video with them? Sometimes we can't find our way alone. Sometimes we need someone to shine a light on the path. Let's talk about what actually happens when a child experiences trauma. Whether it was abuse, neglect, witnessing violence, losing a parent, growing up with addiction in the home, or any number of painful experiences, your developing brain made adaptations to survive. And here's the thing, those adaptations worked. They kept you alive. They got you through. But what works at 7 doesn't work at 27 or 47. The hypervigilance that protected you then makes you exhausted now. The emotional shutdown that helped you cope then prevents you from connecting now. The people-pleasing that kept you safe then makes you lose yourself now. This is what I mean by discernment. Learning to recognize which parts of you were survival mechanisms and which parts are truly you. It's learning wisdom about your own patterns. There is no timeline on recovering from childhood trauma. I need you to hear that. This isn't something you're going to fix in a weekend workshop or with a single breakthrough therapy session. Recovery is measured in seasons, sometimes years. It's little by little. And that's not failure. That's the reality of unwinding decades of neural pathways. Some of you might never fully recover in the way you're imagining, and that's okay. The goal isn't to erase what happened or become someone who never experienced pain. The goal is integration. The goal is to carry your story without letting it control your life. The goal is to start over at zero with the understanding that you get to decide who you become from here. Let me tell you about someone I met years ago. We'll call him Marcus. Marcus grew up in a home where anger was the primary language. Not always physical violence, but loud, unpredictable rage that could erupt at any moment. As a kid, Marcus learned to become invisible. He learned to read a room in milliseconds. He learned that his needs didn't matter as much as keeping the peace. By the time Marcus was an adult, he was successful by every external measure. Good job, nice apartment, stable relationship, but inside, he was drowning. He couldn't make decisions without second-guessing himself into paralysis. He couldn't express his needs to his partner. He felt like a fraud, waiting for everyone to discover he was broken. Marcus didn't go the therapy route initially. He started with something simpler. He started running, not training for anything, not competing, just running. He told me once, "When I run, I can't think about anything else. My body takes over, and for 30 minutes, I'm just present. I'm not that scared kid. I'm just a guy running." That became his anchor. From there, he started journaling, writing letters to his younger self, saying all the things the child needed to hear. He found a men's group where other guys talked openly about their stuff without judgment. He started slowly to tell his partner the truth about what he was carrying. The impact was profound. Not overnight, not in a straight line. But little by little, Marcus started to align his outer life with his inner truth. He learned to reset when old patterns showed up. He found purpose in mentoring younger guys who reminded him of himself. That's what recovery looks like. Not perfection. Not some Hollywood transformation, just a man learning step by step to take action on his own behalf. Here's what I want you to understand about your brain. Childhood trauma affects brain development. The areas responsible for emotional regulation, stress response, and memory formation can be impacted. Your amygdala, that fear center, may be overactive. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that helps you make rational decisions and feel calm, may be underactive. But here's the hope: neuroplasticity. Your brain can change. At any age, with the right practices and support, you can create new neural pathways. You can teach your nervous system that you're safe now. You can build new patterns. This happens through therapy, yes. Trauma-focused therapy like EMDR or somatic experiencing can be incredibly powerful. But it also happens through consistent practices: mindfulness, meditation, movement, creative expression, and connection with safe people. Now let me give you something concrete to do, because information without action is just entertainment, and these are your mental, actionable steps. Step 1, the body check-in. Every morning before you start your day, sit quietly and scan your body. Notice where you're holding tension. Notice your breathing. Don't judge it. Don't try to fix it. Just notice. This teaches you to be present in your body instead of dissociated from it. Childhood trauma often disconnects us from our physical selves. This practice reconnects you. Step 2, the compassion practice. For the next 30 days, I want you to speak to yourself the way you would speak to that child you were. When you make a mistake, when you feel afraid, when you're struggling, pause and ask, what would I say to a scared 8-year-old right now? Then say that to yourself. This rewires the harsh internal voice that trauma often creates. These aren't quick fixes. They're foundations. They're you taking action on your own healing, proving to yourself that you're worth the effort. I also want to talk about building your support system, because this matters more than almost anything. Childhood trauma often teaches us that people aren't safe, that we can't depend on anyone, that we're fundamentally alone. Recovery requires us to challenge that belief. Find people who get it. This might be a therapist, a support group, friends who've done their own healing work, or online communities of trauma survivors. You need witnesses to your story. People who can hold space for your pain without trying to fix it or minimize it. Talk about what happened when you're ready. Not everyone deserves to hear your story, but someone does. Speaking the truth out loud breaks its power over you. Stick to routines that ground you. When your internal world feels chaotic, external structure can be an anchor. Give yourself permission to feel whatever comes up. Anger, grief, confusion, even relief. All of it is valid, all of it is part of the process, and please consider professional help. A good trauma therapist isn't there to judge you or tell you you're broken. They're there to help you make sense of the senseless, to give you tools, to walk alongside you. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. As we close, I want to make sure you hear this. You are not alone in this. There is an entire community of people who understand what it's like to carry a childhood you didn't deserve. People who know that healing isn't about forgetting, it's about freedom. Freedom to be who you actually are, not just who you had to become to survive. As we close, I want to make sure you hear this. You are not alone in this. There is an entire community of people who understand what it's like to carry a childhood you didn't deserve. People who know that healing isn't about forgetting, it's about freedom. Freedom to be who you actually are, not just who you had to become to survive. What happened to you was not your fault. You were a child. You deserved protection, safety, and love. If you didn't get those things, that was the failure of the adults around you, not a reflection of your worth. You deserve healing. You deserve peace. You deserve to build a life that isn't controlled by your past. Let me leave you with this. Your childhood may have written the first chapters of your story, but recovery is where you pick up the pen and decide what comes next. Not by erasing what was, but by refusing to let it write your ending. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for having the courage to face this. I know it's not easy. I know some days it feels impossible. But you're doing it. That matters. If this helped you, if it gave you even a small piece of hope, please subscribe to the U-Tree Legacy channel and hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs it. Your story matters, and so does theirs. Check out the links below for resources from U-Tree Legacy, books and tools created by people who've walked this path, who understand the long road from childhood pain to adult peace. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience, from survival, from strength you don't even realize you have yet. And that's something to build on. We have resources, books, and tools, all created by people who've lived this struggle and found their way through. There's no judgment here, just understanding, support, and practical wisdom for the journey ahead. You're enough, you always have been. Now go live like you believe it.
Thank you for spending time with Utree Legacy. For weekly inspiration and free resources, visit utreelegacy.com. You'll also find our latest blog and a free 7-day guide to help you start strong. See you again soon.